Hey, welcome to Tales from the Troll Hole. I'm your host, Cecil Beee, and together we're going to dive deep into the internet and find what stories there are to be read, enjoyed, laughed at, cried with, you name it. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. Now grab your torch and pitchfork. Let's dive into this troll hole. Hello, it is Cecil Beee. I am here to read you stories, and this week's theme is Black Friday retail hell. I think Black Friday has become less popular, especially since the surge of Cyber Monday, and now it feels like everybody's doing these Black Friday deals for like a whole week. At least the online stores are. And I think a lot of places, instead of doing crazy discounts on certain items, are doing coupons. Have you noticed that as well? Here's the thing, though. I have never liked Black Friday, mostly because I've had retail jobs where I have had to work on Black Friday. And when it was really in its heyday, I was too young to really need to do any of that, or nobody needs to do it, you know what I mean, have any desire to do any of that. I think one time when I was in my early 20s, my siblings and I went to Black Friday deals, especially because I think my brother wanted to get his girlfriend at the time, now his wife, a certain thing at Target. So I went along and I was looking around and thought I wanted something, and then I saw the line and was like, I don't need this. Interestingly enough, though, when I was headed back to the car in the parking lot to wait, I talked to someone who was selling their album in the parking lot. And it was a self-produced rap album. And it was pretty good. I don't remember anything about the fella, what his name is, what it sounded like. I just remember being like, that was not bad for $5. I suppose I did do some shopping that Black Friday. It was a way better deal than anybody else got because I got art for $5 and I enjoyed it. What a bold move, too, thinking back on that choice for that musical artist to be like, you know what? Everybody's going to be shopping this day at this area. Why don't I go out there, too, and see if I can interest anyone in listening to my CD? So that was really smart. Good for him. Very good. I saw a meme the other day, actually, that said, we don't need deals on big screen TVs. We need deals on groceries for Black Friday. And that is so true. Everything is so fucking expensive right now. It's really difficult. But I really hope that everyone can find some joy and, it's okay to buy stuff. That's totally fine. Do you remember back when people used to trample each other to get in the doors and like people would die and stuff, getting stampeded? We don't need to be doing that. That's doing way too much. We can just have a nice, reasonable retail experience to get joyful things for our loved ones for whatever holiday or occasion you want, just like every other fucking day in the calendar year. I don't think it's going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things. Anyhow, just remember to be so friendly and extra kind to all of the retail employees that you will be seeing in your shopping adventures, especially if they seem overwhelmed or stressed. They are doing their best, and that's honestly the hardest day to work in retail. So just be extra nice to people. Even if they're grumpy at you, be nice to them. They need it. They need it. Which brings me into what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to read stories from people's terrible Black Friday retail work experience. So without further ado, let's dive into this troll hellhole. This first story is from Denton56 on Reddit. I'll start with a small one. I was working in a video store and we marked down absolutely everything, including our selection of hundreds of used movies to insane degrees. I mean 50% or more in most cases. Used movies were practically giveaways. Among the small mobs were this guy and his wife who walked in with a box of those giant professional-grade trash bags. They proceeded to fill up 4 of these trash bags. At one point, they were just going through the used bins and throwing things in there. Then, when they got to the register, they had quite a few troubles. It seems that they had picked several of the same movie. Every time they would hit a double, they'd remove it. Because of the sheer volume of movies, they had a tough time keeping up with everything and were taking forever to check out. Luckily, my manager came up and, acknowledging the increasingly angry lines of people behind them, told the couple they can either buy everything they have in the bags, regardless of what it was a double of, or leave. After some arguments, the husband eventually grabbed the bags and upended them, spilling the DVDs onto the floor right in front of the register. They then left. The best part? Customers started to go after the movies on the floor like vultures before we could get to them. That sounds like an absolute nightmare. However, it is nice that people wanted to buy the movies so you didn't have to restock them in order to sell them again, because there's already so much going on that day. It seems like the people waiting in line were angry at the right people, the people who were causing the debacle, and not the people trying to manage said debacle. So that sounds so tense and uncomfortable, though. But after they dumped out the bags and left, it seems like it could have been like a cinema piñata for everybody else. Like, yeah, let's pick all this up. All right, this next story is from Maybe Pants on Reddit. I ran an electronics department in a small retail store. Oh, large retail store. And was a veteran to Black Friday. My team always had everything under control. We had tickets for everything that would sell out quickly. We knew exact numbers and where everything was, and had signs for lineups for hourly deals. Hourly deals, that's cool. We were always prepared and never had an issue. One year, the district manager decided to observe our store during Black Friday. She stopped by my department in the thick of it to see how things were going on my end. It was insanely busy, of course, but we had everything managed. She was carrying a piece of paper, which she told me had some unadvertised markdowns for old inventory. This was news to me. She glanced at it, grabbed my phone, and made a store-wide announcement that we had JVC digital camcorders marked down to $49, regular price $199. As she was making the announcement, I stood there with my jaw open. A sense of fear came over me. I knew the model was just marked down, and we did have it in inventory. The problem was, we only had 4. The store was packed, and a fast-moving zombie horde of shoppers immediately swamped my department from all sides. It was some Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead shit. As the horde swept over my department, I saw my district manager hightail it out of there. I have never been in more fear for my life. I am sure it's very hard to be a district manager, but come on, you can't just drop a bomb like that and then walk away. You can't just fart in the aisle and dip. She should have at least checked the inventory, and then if there was not that many, just have a small sign by the register. And you know for a fact that she was not doing any register work. She was probably just walking around pointing out things that were done incorrectly. That's my gut instinct there, having worked in a few retail environments and interacted with a few retail district managers. Here is a story from username Wildfires. My first Black Friday, I was working at Walmart. I was assigned to be one of the employees that would cut open the plastic on the pallets which contained our merchandise, which were all on the floor. Basically, as I readied the box cutter, I got shoved by a customer and fell right on it and sliced my hand open. After getting through that and patching it up, I came out on the floor and promptly got punched in the face when I picked up a DVD on the ground. A customer apparently wanted it. Fuck Black Friday. That is awful. That's the kind of stuff I remember seeing on the news the following Saturday of how many people were injured and just these terrifying videos of people clamoring over Beanie Babies like it was the end of the world and Beanie Babies were suddenly currency, or toaster ovens or vacuum cleaners or whatever it was. It's never worth injuring someone over. I don't care how cheap it is. And the thing about it that always got to me, too, is the irony of, maybe it's not irony. I never know how to correctly use irony. Anyway, the irony of the giving spirit, the holiday is about peace and joy and love, and people are punching each other over DVDs. That makes no sense at all. That is not very goodwill toward men of you. Here's another story from No Matter. Back in my poor college days when I worked at Walmart, we had a fight break out over a bike. Fists were thrown, and there was some blood. Eventually, one guy got a hold of it and managed to get it away from the crowd. He rode the bike out of the store to flee his pursuers without paying. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Nothing against Walmart, but they had the worst Black Friday stories. The worst ones. And here's another Walmart story from a user named Infinity Kitty. I worked at Walmart for 4 years and worked all Black Fridays. I've seen a woman hit another woman in the chest with one of those toddler car boxes you drive in. Woman who got hit was a week or 3 post-op of open heart surgery. Lots of blood right in front of me. No idea what happened to the woman who hit her. I do think she got the toy car, purchased it, and left. I can't even... What world do we live in? I'm reading in the comments, someone said, that's some crazy shit. Was she okay? And this person responded and said, surprisingly, yeah, she popped like 3 stitches and was taken off. So they probably had to call an ambulance for her. My goodness. Up next is a story from Kidoo. I worked for 6 years at a Johnny Rockets in a mall as a server and management. We didn't open early like the rest of the stores because we are a restaurant and, well, we don't serve breakfast. We had people shake our gates screaming that they wanted food. It would just be me and an opener getting the chairs set out. I pointed them towards the food court and told them we didn't serve breakfast. A lady spit at me and told me, I know you have bacon. Oh my God. We do. In a fridge, waiting to be cooked and put on a burger. Oh my goodness. And then they did an edit. Not all Johnny Rockets serve breakfast. Some do. Some even serve beer, but my location has never been one of them. That is so wild. I just think there's something that awakens in people violent. It's like a switch flips and you're like, damn, we can do anything. We can do everything. The world is ours to take. You know what I mean? I hope you don't know what I mean, actually. I just think these people got caught up in the whole pushing, shoving, punching people in the face mentality and just thought that it applied everywhere on Black Friday. Little do they know it doesn't apply anywhere. They're just getting away with it on Black Friday because of corporate greed. Ugh. On an unrelated note, I just took a little break to make some chili mac, and I overcooked the noodles. Ugh. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Here is a story from Akari. I work back of house at Toys R Us. I spent Black Friday taking big ticket items to the back where we had just loaded them into the customer's car instead of trying to make our way to the front of the store. Apparently, someone decided it was fine to wander into the back storage room and start opening boxes to find what they wanted. Other customers saw this one jackass do it and then decided it was okay if they did too. Myself and the other back-of-house guys were busy wrestling with a really obnoxious bed set. So when I made it to the other side of our back storage, I found like 8 to 10 people just taking cases off our bays and opening them, then tossing them aside if they didn't want it. They claimed there was nothing indicating they shouldn't come back there. We have 2 signs on the swinging door saying employees only and warning only authorized personnel beyond this point. I'm going to have to find some good stories after this because I'm starting to get angry. Fucking angry as shit. Here is a story from a deleted user. An 80-year-old grandma tackled and then bear-maced a woman over a fleece piece of fabric at my store. The old lady wanted a cancer pink ribbon fabric, and the woman she ultimately tackled and called ahead and had called ahead and ordered a bulk amount of it because she works for a cancer organization and makes blankets for cancer patients. The woman was wheeling a cart in the store with several large bolts of the fabric in it, which she had special ordered and we had put in the cart for her so she could continue shopping. The old lady sees that this woman has all the bolts and that isn't right, and she's hogging the entire stock of that particular print. The woman explains the situation and that she in fact special ordered these, and the reason she was coming in on Black Friday to purchase them is because they were a major Black Friday promotion at 60% off. The old lady continues to yell at the poor woman. The woman very calmly keeps trying to reassure that she is not taking any of the store stock, that she makes blankets for dying women with breast cancer. She is very sweet and a regular who pays out of pocket for all the blankets, so my store held the fabric for her until Black Friday when she would come in and purchase them with her coupon. The old lady doesn't give a shit. Whips out mace and tackles the woman. Old lady gets kicked out of the store. She would come in once every couple of months, give me the stink eye, and then rebelliously write down recipes from the home and food magazine so she didn't have to buy them. Then she'd scurry out and come back in a few months. That right there, that lady right there is a monster. Absolutely monstrous. Definitely the kind of person who would give you a toothbrush on Halloween. Or a pamphlet about Jesus. The next one is a story from username Lineman72T. I worked security at Target for 5+ years. For being a store in the rougher part of town, I don't have too many horror stories. The funniest one I like to tell is a couple of years ago. I was there early doing crowd control. I would always talk to the people in line to try to keep them entertained while they waited in the cold. The first couple in line had been there for about 13 or 14 hours. So when we open the store, we have deals on all sorts of electronics, toys, everything. They get in line and have a shopping cart full of towels that we had on sale for $2. That's it. Just towels. They were first in line outside and waited over half a day for $2 towels. When I left after my 12-hour shift, we still had shelves full of these towels, along with tons more in the stock room. Here's a story from Nick Dubs. When I worked at Sam's Club, during the madness one Black Friday morning, we caught a woman stuffing the inside of her pants with frozen lobster tail. She would unpackage them and throw the trash in a stack of tires that were on display. The comment below says, wouldn't that sort of ruin the point of stealing it? I'd have a hard time eating lobster that had previously been in my pants. The next comment says, it's not about the lobster tail. It's about sending a message. Here's another Reddit story from username StealerGirl2310. I worked for a golf superstore as a cashier. Black Friday customers came rushing in and the line starts. I proceed to scan the first item, and nothing. The registers were completely down and the lines were growing fast. The only thing we could do is take down every transaction manually, write down SKUs, calculate tax, and use the old credit card swipers for 3 hours. I never worked retail during Black Friday again. Okay, here's a fun story from user Tastes Like Satan. I worked at a grocery store in high school. Black Friday was my favorite day all year. Hardly anyone goes food shopping the day after Thanksgiving. That's great. That's a Black Friday win. That is so nice. I needed a nice one. So that person just had like a super chill day. Ugh, you love it. You love to see it happen. Here's a story from a deleted Reddit user. My first Black Friday, we had a guy camp out for days. He bought a bunch of stuff, then returned it an hour later. He told us he just does it for the thrill. What a weirdo. Now that's what I call good, harmless fun. Good for that person. They get to do a fun activity, be a part of the group. They like it, and it doesn't cause anyone any harm. You go, weirdo. This one is from user CD. A few years back, my stepdad went to Black Friday just to see what it was like and saw 2 grandmas fist fighting over the new generation Furby. I loved the Furby. I remember that was one of the first things that I ever bought for myself with my own money. I got $40 and my dad stood in line with me at the Toys R Us one Black Friday. We were outside in the dark standing in line and I got my own little Furby. It was so fun. I do remember that Black Friday, but it wasn't a dangerous Black Friday because I got what I wanted and I was just a little tiny wee baby child. And if anything crazy would have happened, I totally would have remembered it. Those Furbies were so cool, though. I wish I could find one again. People said they were evil and they learned how to talk and stuff, but still, I want it. Evil or not, gimme. This is from user named Threefer. Last year, someone posted a picture of a woman who shit herself in Best Buy and still waited to check out. Needless to say, they let her cut the line. Now, that's where I say cut the shit, because if anyone decides that they're going to stand in line over taking care of their bodily functions, that person can get the fuck out of the store forever. Unless it's genuinely an accident, you are making a biohazard for other people to deal with because you want a $10 waffle iron, go fuck yourself. Here's a little bit of history of Black Friday from an NBC article by Zoe Malin. The first time Black Friday became used in a retail setting, I'm summarizing, was in the 1950s when police in Philadelphia said that there was a ton of people coming to the city to shop the day after Thanksgiving. And they started calling it Black Friday because they had to do crowd control in Philadelphia. I guess that was like the shopping capital back then. Very fancy. The article goes on to say that retailers did not like the term Black Friday because it had a negative connotation because of the crowd control issue, but they failed in converting people to using Big Friday. And I love that. I think that's so funny. The retailers were like, no, this is a good thing. This is a great thing. But all the people who have to deal with the throngs of customers were like, no, this sucks. We're keeping Black Friday. My own Black Friday retail work story is when I worked at the mall in the early 2010s. And I was in a certain shoe store. And we had to show up. My shift started at midnight on Black Friday. So 12:01 Friday morning, I had to be there. And we had lines of people. And luckily we had a gate that pulled down over our store entrance. And people were watching us get set up for the day and everything. And my lunch that I brought that day was Thanksgiving dinner. I didn't even get to enjoy it because I had to travel several hours to go be with my family. And then I had to go straight to work for a 12-hour shift. And let me tell you, I was working commission back in those days, and the amount of people who were coming in to get fitted for very fancy shoes, spending hours of my time trying on all the different sizes and different lacing options. And then they'd just be like, okay, thanks, I'm just going to buy it on Cyber Monday. And then they would leave, and I'd be like, oh, cool, great. 12 hours of that. Plus getting shoes chucked at you, people screaming at you, people fighting over socks. It was a nightmare. The only fun that I got to have was going over to the Auntie Anne's store and commiserating with the people there who had been there for the same amount of time and were just serving pretzels and lemonade to grumpy ass people who didn't get the shoes they wanted. But that's exactly why retail people have such an understanding of people and food service too, but that's a whole different level, I think. Not better or worse, but a lateral jump. It just teaches you compassion and understanding on an incredible level. And I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. I think that everyone should work retail and or food service for a minimum of a year. It is such great, enriching experience and teaches you so much about how to treat other people. Well, that's it for this week's, folks. We're going to keep it short and sweat this time. And I really hope you have a wonderful holiday and that you spend time with people that you love and that you eat a bunch of delicious food. That's my hope for you. And if you do go Black Friday shopping, be nice to the people. All the people. The fellow shoppers, the people that work there. And if you're working Black Friday, thank you. Thank you so much for putting in the time. And I hope that you can find joy that day because God damn it, you deserve it. Anyhow, thanks for listening to this episode of Tales from the Troll Hole. We will see you next week, next Tuesday. Bye. See you next Tuesday. Oh. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Tales from the Troll Hole. I'm your host, Cecil Beee, and this show is produced by me. Our theme song is by Vervex. They're a great band. You should give them a listen. You can stream them anywhere. They're also on TikTok and Instagram. Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss out on a single episode. And also find us on Instagram, and then you can send in your own stories. I just ask that they're true and that they're not going to scar somebody for life. You know what I mean? Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.